Another front in Kamala's war on workers is her gigantic migrant invasion. Over the past 3 years, Border Czar. Do you notice she said, I'm not a Border Czar? She was a Border Czar for 3.5 years. Now she's saying I had nothing to do. Whether she was the Border Czar or just the person in charge of the border, it's been the worst thing ever, maybe one of the worst things ever to happen to our country. Look at what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. Look at what's happened to that beautiful town. Look at what's happened to Aurora in Colorado, where you have a radical left Democrat governor who doesn't have a clue. He's so scared. The Venezuelans are attacking. They're in the real estate business. They're taking over real estate. They're in there like I was, but they take it over with guns. I took it over with the brain. They take it over with guns. But they're in, think of it, Aurora, and they have weapons that the military doesn't even have. AK-47s. I learned about AK-47s 3 weeks ago. That's not a nice. I'm getting very good at learning about weapons. I'm learning a lot about guns. Over the past 3 years, Border Czar Harris has inundated small towns all across America with hundreds of thousands of migrants. Not only has she invited them across our border, unfortunately, she's also illegally flown them in. Remember, she was making excuses. No, we haven't really had too many. And then we found out that they're flying in by big, beautiful jets. They're flying over the border. She's trying to say that the border was sort of secure. It wasn't secure. Although Kamala has illegally flown in more than 500,000 migrants right when she was saying, no, we don't want to do that. And she's got, these guys actually want these people in our country. It's not even believable. Working with left-wing nonprofits to inundate Pennsylvania communities, changing the character of small towns and villages all over our country and changing them forever. They will never be the same. They will never be. Do you think Springfield will ever be the same? I don't think. The fact is, and I'll say it now, you have to get them the hell out. You have to get them out. I'm sorry. To get them out. Can't have it. Can't have it. They've destroyed it. It's terrible. It's terrible to say, and it's a tough thing to do. You know, you're going to take in some murderers and things, and you'll put them on the planes and the buses, and you're going to start doing it. Dwight Eisenhower holds the record. Believe it or not, he was a moderate kind of a guy, General Eisenhower, president, and he has the record. He couldn't stand people pouring into our country, and he took a lot and took them out. He's very strong on that. And we have to be strong. We have no choice because this is not sustainable by any country. There's no country that can do this. I mean, what were they thinking when they did it? What were they thinking? This is like, who would allow men to play in women's sports? Well, this is bigger. This is bigger. But it's the same thought. Who would allow? We're allowing open borders where millions of people that we have no idea who they are, where they come from. We don't know if they're murderers, if they're killers. Many are murderers, though, because prison populations are being released into our country. And these are tough people. They're tough people, and they're vicious, evil people in many cases. And we can't, but it's very tough because we'll take one young woman with 2 children and they'll put them in a bus to take them back to some country, and it'll be put in the fake news, and it'll be a terrible story. It's terrible. And the whole country will turn against. It's a very tough thing to do. We have to do it carefully. But we have to get murderers and drug dealers and all these people that are coming into our country. We have to get them out of here. It's not sustainable. And not far from here, the 4,000-person town of Charleroi. Do people? Oh, you know Charleroi? In Charleroi, Pennsylvania, has seen a 2,000% increase in the population of their town. Do you know that, right? They have all. Has your town changed slightly? Where are you from, Charleroi? Put up. Okay, good. I just took a picture with that handsome guy. So, would you say your town has changed just a little bit over the last couple of months? It's like, is it a different place? Totally different place? It's what? completely different. Where are the other people that started screaming about Charleroi? Where are they? Okay, has your beautiful town changed? Yes. It's you can't do it. 80%, think of it, of the capital, and it's composed of lawless gangs. We're not gonna do this. All of the gang members, MS-13, they're being brought into our country because Venezuela doesn't want it. Remember this. Venezuela has sent their criminals into our country, has emptied their jails, not fully. They've still got people, but I don't know why, because I would have been worse than him. I would have emptied it. I would, if I ran one of those countries, Honduras, any of them, even Mexico to an extent is doing it, and they shouldn't be doing it at all because they're getting rich off of us. They're getting rich. They shouldn't be doing it at all. They're going to stop immediately. But so many of these countries, I would do it. If I were the president of one of these countries, you know, and they're all smart, street smart people, I would have had them all. I don't know why Venezuela does it, but they have a lot of the jail population in our country. They probably couldn't get enough buses and planes. That's probably the only reason. But they're dumping jail populations, the criminals of the street, into our country. And there's only one thing that can happen, and it's really bad. And it's happening. And now you see it. And I said this 3 years ago when I heard about it. I said, this is only going to be bad. Think of the cruelty Kamala Harris is inflicting on the people of Pennsylvania. You live in a small town your whole life. You pay your taxes. You really are exemplary. You pay everything. You do everything. You love your town. You love your country. You know the town so well by name, you're just so proud of it. And suddenly she flies in thousands and thousands of migrants from the most dangerous places on earth, and they deposit them right smack in the middle of your community. And you're a nice person, and you want to be politically correct. I see it very much in the cities, like the governor of Colorado. The guys are real stiff, but he's up talking, and he says, well, these are fine people. He doesn't want to say that they have AK-47s and they're taking over large portions of real estate. He doesn't want to say it. They want to be politically correct. It's happening in all of these towns that we're talking about because the mayors are afraid, and they're afraid politically too. They don't know, am I supposed to say this is good, or am I supposed to say, and Democrat mayors, every one of them is saying it's a wonderful thing, and not one of them believes it, but they're afraid to go against the stupid party that's in Washington. So now your schools can teach because the majority, they can't teach because the majority of students don't speak the language. The housing market is destroyed. Crime is rampant. The jobs are taken by migrants illegally imported to our countries. Your school classes, you can't get in. You can't get into your hospitals. Nobody can get into the hospitals. They're driving to hospitals 300-400 miles away. We are the party of common sense. That's what we are. That's what we are. We want to have strong borders, great education, school choice. Does everybody like school choice? We want to move the Department of Education. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, the worst. We spend more money per pupil than any other country by far, and yet we're at the bottom of the list. Out of 40, we're ranked about number 40. And I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states. And we're going to do it fast. Maybe I'll have you do that. I'll use Lee. Maybe I'll have you. You could do it. That's not too easy. We'll get somebody great. We'll get Lee Zeldin is here with us tonight. I think that's the job for Lee. Or Vivek. Or we'll get somebody. We like Vivek. We need somebody with a lot of energy, a lot of strength, energy, and intelligence. But it takes centuries to build the unique character of each state. And we are going to. And you know, when you do that, so the number 1 rated country is Norway. The number 2 is like Denmark. And, you know, on and on it goes. Spend much less money than we do, and they have the finest education. In New York City, a few years ago with de Blasio, who is one of the worst mayors in history, by the way, he said, we're going to go with the Norwegian system. That didn't work out too well, okay? You know, when they start throwing the teachers out the window, that wasn't working out. They don't do that in Norway. Historically, they haven't thrown too many teachers out the window in Norway. But we're going to make it good. And you know what's going to happen is out of the 50 states, you're going to have 35, like different ones. Iowa will do good. A lot of the states will do very good. I can think of probably 30, 35 will be good, and 5 will be okay, 10 will be okay. You'll have 4 or 5 that will be terrible, but that's okay. We have to control it. But you'll have Idaho. You'll have Idaho will do a great job. They, no debt, no this. They run a great state. A lot of places will have will have education that can compete with Norway and Denmark and this, but we'll have certain places, and it's the same places like Gavin Newsom, who's a terrible governor. You'll probably have a problem in California, but what you do is you give it to the local communities, and they'll have a great educational system. You don't want to give it to somebody like Kamala because she destroyed San Francisco and then destroyed the whole state. But reckless migration policy can change it very quickly, and it can destroy everything in its way, just like we've seen in London and Paris and Minneapolis. Look at what's happened in London. Look what's happening in Paris. If Kamala Harris wins this election, she will flood Pennsylvania cities and towns with illegal migrants from all over the world, and Pennsylvania will never be the same. You will never be the same. When I'm president, all migrant flights to Pennsylvania will stop immediately. By the way, all migrant flights. Not only to Pennsylvania, everywhere. No, but how about they get caught? We just found that out a few months ago. They're saying, no, we're fighting. In the meantime, people are just pouring in. No, we want to do it. And then we learned that the airplanes are flying. That means that, it's just a big con job. Remember this. For a long time, she's been talking about her experience at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's over the French fries. It was so hot. I think I'm going to go to a McDonald's next week someplace. I'm going to go. Might not be in your place. I'm going to go to a McDonald's, and I'm going to work the French fry job for about a half an hour. I want to see how it is. But she said she worked, and she grew up in terrible conditions. She worked at McDonald's. It was such. She never worked there. And these fake news reporters will never report it. They don't want to report it because they're fake. They're fake. They don't want to report it. She never worked at McDonald's, but it was a big part of her resume. They went to the different places. Did she work here? Did she work here? Did she work here? She said, we don't know who the hell she is. Leave us alone. We're making hamburgers. We will end the invasion of small-town Pennsylvania, and we will end the destruction of America. It's destroying our country. This country is going to be better than ever before, but we have to do certain things, and we have to do it quickly.